So I discovered my 6th clutch of eggs today. It's pretty exciting. I thought I'd share it with you guys. Let me get the door here. And it's a big pastel female that laid, and she is right in here. There she is. So now typically what I do, the first thing I do is I put the date laid. You can see right above the tub here, laid eggs today. It's the 20th of April. And ball pythons are usually really defensive when it comes to taking them off their eggs. So normally what I first do is I'll pull the whole tub out and set it on the table. And usually what I do, when I first discover it, I'll, looks like she's getting ready to strike. What I'll do is I'll kind of look at her body shape and make sure she's laid all the eggs. And if I still see some eggs in her belly, then I'll wait. Sometimes I've actually taken eggs away a little bit too early, and they still have eggs in them. So I make sure she looks like she's pretty empty, like she's laid all her eggs. And let me set this tripod up here, and I will show you how I take mama off the eggs. Alright. So you can see she's really defensive. Super defensive. Alright, mama. And what I'll try to do is maybe distract her a little and see, try not to get bit here. Kind of go around the back and just kind of stay away from her head. And once I get her up and running, she usually does pretty good. So there we go. And then I just kind of look at her body, and she looks like she has laid all of her eggs. And what I'll do just for now is I put her in this big huge boa tub and just kind of let her relax in there. Okay, that's a nice clutch. So the first thing I do is I'll put just a little tiny dot on the top of each egg. And they say you're supposed to keep them in a certain orientation. It looks like we got 6 good eggs, but most people say that the eggs should always stay in the same orientation that they were laid in. And I kind of have a problem with that. Normally what I do is I separate each egg. These are super easy to separate. She has not had them laid very long. Sometimes they really stick and you almost have to tear them. But these are really good. This one's stuck to the bottom a little bit here. And what I find, if they're stuck, it's best to try to move them in like left, right, back and forth, so you're not pulling all in one direction. And it seems like they tend to come apart without putting stress on them as easy. So what I like to do is candle them. I'm going to actually candle this clutch right from the get-go. Let me turn off this light. I don't know if you'll be able to see this very good on the camera, but you can see here that little thing right in the middle is the embryo. So for this particular egg, it's almost right on spot. And I'll put a little X right where it is. And sometimes I find that the embryo is not always on top. Like, take a look at this one, if you can see it on camera here. Let me move it in the middle. Alright, so here I marked the spot over here, but the embryo, you can see it jiggles a little bit. The embryo is actually right here. So what I'll do, I'm going to try with this clutch is to actually have all the embryos on the top instead of having it laid exactly how they were laid. Now look at this one. The embryo's way over here and the spot is way over here. So you can see, hopefully you can see that good on the camera, but it kind of jiggles and moves. That is the embryo. And they say if the embryo is on the bottom, it can actually drown in the egg and the egg will die. So I'm just going to go through and candle all these. Look at this one. This one's beautiful. Very obvious embryo right there. And look at how far over the spot was on this one. Way over here. So that one is... I've been kind of struggling. At first I was putting 2 spots on the egg, and then I kind of put the middle right in the I put the top right in the middle. But this time I'm actually gonna have the embryo up on all of these. Oh, this is perfect here on this one. It's like right there. And then the last one, it's almost perfect. Right there. You can see it? Yeah, very obvious. Pretty close. I found if you let the eggs sit in the incubator for like 2 or 3 weeks, you can't see the embryos or the inside of the egg. You can't candle them, so it's best to candle them as soon as possible. Okay, so I actually had set up an egg box here, and let me show you that. So this was already in the incubator, warming up for probably a week or so, and I put new paper towels in here, and I thought I'd show you. I already weighed this to 1,300 grams, and if you can see. Let me get this, this is kind of on a tripod here, but if you can see, the water basically comes up almost to the grate. I don't know if you can see that very well, but one thing you want is, if you push down on it, you don't want it to sink into the water, but you want as much water as possible. And another thing I found is, I've had some eggs mold in there, so I like to wash my hands before I jump into this. And then you can just set them in really any way. I kind of like to have them touch a little bit so they don't roll around. You also don't want them to touch the sides, and you don't want them to touch the top, because you don't want any condensation coming down on the eggs. And I have the little cross is where I candled them, and that is where the embryos are. So you can actually try to wedge them a little bit. Let's see if I can get this wedged a little bit better here. That's pretty good. I could probably move them all slightly this way. This one's really long. I can't believe it. Okay. And then I put my paper towels in. Make sure they're taut. And I already pre-labeled this. So this is a pastel number 2. It's my second pastel female, crossed with my bamboo male. Should be some interesting pairing there. And what I do is I just ask Siri, what's going to be the date in 55 days? And she tells me these will hatch on 14 June of 2018. So that's pretty cool. I also label them on the side over here. And then I simply move them over to the incubator. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Probably not opening the doors. So basically this is my incubator here, and I already have a spot all set up for it. We can turn the lights on. And I just want to double check that they haven't rolled at all. Not touching the sides. Oh, sure enough, one of them has rolled. So they're pretty soft and squishy right now, but after about 2 weeks they really firm up, and then you don't really have to worry about them rolling. And then you can just kind of peek in, make sure they haven't rolled. And right now my incubator is sitting at 88 degrees, 74% humidity, 72. It's coming down out here. Well, that's about perfect. Okay, and then for the snake, some people change out the substrate. You can if you want, but normally what I do is just kind of move it, and then in this bottom tub here where I put the snake, I have extra bedding. It's kind of where I store all my extra bedding. So, and she is still fired up. He wants to bite me. So I'll add a little extra bedding there. And then it's a matter of getting this girl out of here and getting her in the tub. Let's see if I can get her without getting bit here. She's not happy that I took her eggs. Whew. Come on, buddy. Alright, come on, buddy. Ah, yeah. Alright, once you get them up there, pretty good. Now she wants to run. Whoa. Yeah, it's a little hard with the tripod going here. Oh. Yeah. Alright. So then I'll just put her back in her tub, and that's it. And usually I found that some of these other ones that have laid, I've even changed the substrate, and this one's pretty good. But some of them will act like they're, like this one, she acts like she's still on eggs, but she laid a couple weeks ago, and obviously there's no eggs under her. But she still thinks there is. And she's actually eaten a couple times. So, but anyway, and then once they kind of come out of the feeding mode, this one laid eggs, and she is pounding the rats down. So you can see they're not coiled up quite as much after they come out of feeding mode, and they will start eating a lot of rats. She's actually in shed, and she laid on the 15th, which is 5 days ago. So. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.